Hey, and welcome back. So over the next couple of videos, we are going to look at certain concepts that you may decide to use in a loop. One of them is a label. So we are going to look at labels. We're going to start by looking at labels, and then we're also going to look at the break, which we may have encountered. And then we are also going to look at continue. So let's start by looking at a label. So a label is a way for you to provide an identifier for a statement so that you can use it later on. So for example, if you want to give your while loop an identifier, you can use a label to give it an identifier. You can use a label, give it a name, and then you can use it later on, maybe with a break or with a continue statement. So we are going to see examples of how you can do this. But for now, let's just understand what a label is by doing a very simple example whereby we are going to have an array and we're going to access the various elements of the array, and then within it we are going to have a label. So the most important thing to remember is that a label is a way for you to provide an identifier for a statement. So if I come back to Scratchpad, we already have this array here, so I can just use this array. So I'll just delete this. And so how a label works is you give the label a name. So in this case, I can call this my array. And then what I want to do, I want to access each of these elements in the most rudimentary way. So I'm going to do just an alert, student, let's start from 0. And since there are going to be many lines, let me group the entire thing like we do in C-based programming languages. If you want to group things, you group them using that. So I'll take that, Control X, and then I put it in there, Control V, Control V, Control V, and what I want to do is I want to alert the different elements. How many are they? 1, 2, 3, 4. So they end at 3, 2, and then 3. So if I do this, it's going to alert for me all these values. Every time I press OK on the alert, it's going to give us all this. So the last one here, let me say we just want to alert a statement that tells us that this is the end. This is the end. So we've given this block of code a label. So that's the label. That means that we can access it at any point if we want to. So right now, let me just run this first of all. And there, it will bring back all the names and then our final statement. Where a label comes into play is that you can put the label here. Let me copy the name, Control C, Control V, and then I do a break. So here I can say break here. So I can break here. So when we start talking about breaks, you'll hear me say something like, you can use a break within a loop, but outside of a loop, you can only use a break with a label. So in this case, a break is usable because we're using it with a label. So what is going to happen is that it's going to run this, then it's going to run that, then when it reaches here, it's going to break, and none of these are going to run. So if I run it, Control Z, if I run it, it will bring the first element, the second element, and then it will encounter our break. So if I want to break somewhere else, Control X, maybe I want to break it here. So basically, that's what a label is. A label is a way for you give a statement. You can give a group of statements or a block of code. You can give it a label, which is an identifier, and then later on, you can access that identifier. Like in this case, you see, within this, we decided that we're going to break from it. So that's what a label is. So we are going to see how we can use it inside a loop, and we'll do that in the next video. So just a recap, we have said that a label is a way for you to give a certain block of code an identifier so that it is accessible and usable later on. So if this was an array, a while loop, and maybe within that while loop you wanted to break out of that loop, you could just do a break with the name of that label. So the label is like a name you've given to the loop or the group of code so that you can use it later on. So we'll continue in the next video.